What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Mick, and this is The Mad-Man. So we are here, and we are interviewing today a very special guest, Damian Maffei. You got to say it right for me now, though, man.
It's Maffei. Come on. Talked about this.
Swing and a miss. Come on, try a little culture, all right?
We're gonna sit here and we're going to talk about his epic movies, and we're going to talk about a lot of other fun stuff. So join in and talk,
enjoy our conversation.
Enjoy the conversation. All right, that was it. I can cut that up. So
Maffei.
All right. Yep.
I went through all of school with it being Maffei. My grandmother was like, "You people pronouncing it wrong."
Yeah, I get it, man. Okay.
Then, so I went to college and I ran into some people, and they were like, "Maffei." I was like, "It's Maffei." And they're like, "Excuse me, excuse me, Maffei."
Monsieur Devin Maffei.
Yeah.
Just
And then, like, quickly, it's just like, okay, it's Maffei. I get it. I understand. All right, so
That's awesome, man. Where'd you go to college?
Oh man, that was a community college on Long Island. I grew up in New York.
Okay.
Nice.
And then I was a terrible student. I couldn't have gotten into any college. And, so I got there, but they had an amazing theater program, and I learned so much there. I didn't do any work. I didn't learn, like school stuff.
Right. No, of course. Yeah.
But I did a lot of theater there, and I went to acting school from there in New York City.
Oh, that's awesome. Which school did you go to?
William Esper Studio, which
Nice.
is a serious place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of, you start with like 30 students, and then after a week, there was like 18 students. The rest, all the models dropped out and stuff.
Everyone was hoping for a
Does this
cakewalk.
work?
This isn't acting. That's exactly what this is. Well, we appreciate you coming down today.
Yeah,
Really do. We are, like I said, pretty easy conversational. So we just want to see like how you feel about like coming down to the horror fest. I mean, you're an iconic character in horror. It was The Strangers Pray at Night.
You got it.
So we have to settle a debate.
Yes.
He says Man in the Mask. I know it's listed as Man in the Mask. I've heard and I call him Sackhead.
I saw it earlier, Sackhead, so I'm confused.
So what would you say? You have to give us the ultimate.
His official title is Man in the Mask. That's what it says in the script, or it'll just say the man in the script. That's the official credit.
Okay.
But like Johannes Roberts, the director, he'd be like, "Where's the sack? The bag man? Where's Sacagawea?" He had
That's awesome.
He had a name every time, and I was on that movie every single day. So he just.
I mean, like I said, man, it's an iconic character. So
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, that movie. It was a lot of fun. And I was there every day because he just, they just called me every day because Johannes didn't know if maybe he wanted to have me behind a tree or something, or, just put me in the background there. And that was an odd movie. It was very kind of adapting and evolving always. Like the title kept changing.
Yeah.
The ending changed like 5 times while we were filming.
Wow.
And and he would just go with it.
So for stuff like that, so was that your first horror movie? That wasn't your first one, right? We were.
I mean, it wasn't my first horror movie. No.
Did you?
My first movie ever was, I think, was Nikos the Impaler, which is a movie near and dear to myself and Felissa Rose because it's like alarmingly bad. So that's where I met her. And,
But there was fun, aren't they?
Right.
On set.
That was fun. Well, I mean, I hadn't done anything. That was I knew the effects artist on that, and he was like, "I'm coming to New York," and I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I'm doing the effects for this German splatter director, his first American movie," and I was like, "I gotta get in on this." And I was like, "Get me in there, get me an audition." And he came back, and they were like, he said, "Yeah, they said you can play one of the cops," and I was like, "Oh my god, that's it! I made it." It didn't occur to me that they cast me without seeing a picture of me or anything.
Right. Yeah.
This was 2000 or 2001, so the internet was still a little,
In its infancy.
Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
growing.
and I hadn't done anything, so there's nothing to find. But I didn't care. I was like, this is my big break. This is it. I can quit acting school. I was in acting school. And I was like,
Don't need you losers
Hollywood,
anymore.
Hollywood is called. And I went there, and they gave me a blue button-up work shirt and pants, and they stapled NYPD patches on my shoulder, like while I'm wearing it, and the hat. And I was like, oh boy. And that movie's just.
That's a special kind of movie.
Oh yeah.
I met Felissa there.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
Well, Haunt is awesome. That's a great movie, man.
I had a good run there. Strangers and Haunt, and then
Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn.
Wrong
And
Turn
that's
awesome.
all kind of the same group. It's all filmed in the Kentucky, Ohio area. I don't live there, but I've spent more time there now than really anywhere else. So those are all produced. John D. Wagner is the producer on all three of those.
Oh, it's awesome.
James Harris did the Pray at Night and then Wrong Turn, and a lot of the crew is the same. So it's really kind of like a cool family type thing.
Nice. That's
Very
fantastic.
And I like the movies too.
That usually helps, I would think. Yeah.
It does. It does. It helps to do a movie and then want to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with this, having done so much in the horror genre, doing the conventions and things like that, like it's okay if it's not your favorite genre. We will not judge in any way, shape, or form. But I'd love to hear what you think about, the horror genre.
No, I've been a fan since before my memory started. It's
Nice.
being a horror fan. I remember the first moment for me was Alien. I was watching my parents watching it. I remember I was standing behind the couch, and the dinner scene happened.
Oh,
Changed all our lives.
It really did.
oh
It really
my
did.
God.
What changed my life with that movie though is I really like Tom Skerritt's character,
Yeah.
Dallas, and that was a long time ago. So, in my head, and that's why I used to be with movies. I'd put myself in there, or try to put myself in there, or put myself as the character. And he was, he's a working guy. He's just trying to get out of there. I really liked his character, and in my head. Back then, it was 70 years ago, or whatever.
Give or take.
He's the one that's supposed to, he's going to survive or whatever.
Right.
And he gets in those ducts, and you can just see that he knows he's made a mistake, and he just wants to get out of there, and he's panicking, and that whole scene is just amazing.
No,
And he's great in that. He's muttering to himself, and then so him dying there, that was a big moment for me as a horror fan. And as an actor, I kind of like that whole sequence, and that whole, was unexpected. So that all, kind of came together. And then, those were mom and pop video store days. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The good days.
my parents, my mother was like, no, you shouldn't be watching this crap. But I get to rent it. And then, HBO, and it's really probably just pretty much it. There was Cinemax at the time, but I didn't sleep, so I'd stay up all night. I'd sneak back down to watch TV. So I did experience Cinemax, after midnight, which was
Yeah, I feel like we're all the same age. So
Smut.
that's pretty
Smut.
much. Yep.
Skinemax. But
Mhm.
I saw a lot of horror movies that way, and I'd rent whatever as soon as I could rent stuff on my own. That was it. That was the shelves. You just staring at the shelves.
Yep.
And they dupe you into, because the beautiful covers. So they dupe you into renting it. You bring it home. You're like, what the fuck is this?
It's
This isn't
terrible.
the-
Yep.
what
Yeah.
is this? Nail gun mask.
Actually, that's leads me to my next question. Being in a lot of these movies, and like you said, you worked with Felicity, you worked with Matthew Modine and Wrong Turn and such, and so many people that you would have rented their movies back in the day. What's that like for you, stepping in and
I can tell you, Matthew Modine, my brother's a few years older than me. He's the atypical jock, kind of shove people in locker jocks, which his reputation kind of was still lingering when I went to high school. So those Jeremy Connors brother, man, don't mess with him. He said he was on the wrestling team, and he watched Vision Quest every day for at least 8 months. Every single day, Vision Quest would be on there. And I was just a little kid, couldn't do anything about it. And I'm always watching Vision Quest, which is also not really an appropriate movie for a kid to be watching.
Yeah, valid.
But so I'm so sick of Matthew Modine's face. So that was the thing. I told him that. I was like, I'm so sick of seeing your goddamn face. So that's like that's a thing.
That's one of the best starts ever. You can't really get better than that.
Running into some, I had like Bill Sage from Wrong Turn. I been a fan of his before. I've been doing this, or attempting to since 2000. But yeah, seeing these people is it always has an effect on you. Although, like for me, that the greatest moment there was kind of like an acting hero of mine is Clu Gulager.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
I used to watch The Return of the Living Dead every day
because it's amazing.
Rent it, and just keep renting it and rent it. And I loved Bird. I just loved Clu. He's just such a, he's just everyone in that movie is just an awful person, pretty much.
Yep.
Except for, I guess, Freddy. He's just an idiot. But
everyone
is responsible for some piece of the awful that goes on in that movie. I just love Bert. And like Clu Gulager, I like watching that movie. I was like, there's something about this guy. Because like you watching so many bad horror movies, like it's so much bad acting. And so when you see someone, one of these older actors kind of picking up a paycheck or just doing it, even when they're like not into it, it's still something's going on there.
There's extra.
And I just totally loved him. And then my mother walked by. I remember first time I was watching Return of the Living Dead, and she was like, "Oh, Clu Gulager," and was my mother. She would always like spot the veteran actors, like Farley Granger in The Prowler. So I would always learn about these actors, and then I'd want to go out and watch more of their movies. And that Clu, and I got all of his movies, and I just really enjoyed him. And then I started to, my friends of mine would, I'd make friends with people, in the business, and we became friends with Clu. And they're like, "Oh my God, we're friends with Clu." And I was like, "No, I don't want to meet any of these people." No, he's great, he's great. And I was like, "No, like
it'll ruin
a bad day or something." Like I don't need to meet him, so that's it. And but I was in Los Angeles. I was in Studio City. At a diner with a friend eating probably pancakes. And he was like, "Oh my God, it's Matthew Perry over there." And I was like, "That's Clu Gulager over there." And he was like, "Who?" I was like, "Shut up." He was like with Jeff Burr, the director. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's Clu. Oh my God." And I called my friend up, and I was like, "Clu's in this diner right now." And he was like, "Hold on." I was like, "No, don't come here." And so he came there, and this was late. It was probably 11 o'clock at night. And Clu and them got up, and Jay was like, "Clu, I want to introduce you to someone there." And he came over. And we were out front talking till 4:30 in the morning.
That's awesome.
It was great. He's just awesome.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, I went to the New Bev, to see Tintorera and Show Rock, which is shark and croc movie, Filipino croc movie, very special movies. And Clu was there, which he's like all the time, and he was like, "Damian." I was like,
Oh, that's amazing.
You
Yeah.
remember me? So, and that, that's just, someone's like, that's just how Clue is. And I was like, fuck you.
Don't tell me that. Don't sully this.
I'm special.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
To horror fans, he's such like an icon.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know? And he shows up in movies, and you're just kind of like the dad in Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's Clue. And
that's why I wanted to see that movie. Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I told my mother, like, Clue's in this. I gotta see this movie.
that's great.
That's
That's awesome.
fantastic.
That's like the big one for me. And then anyone else I like really want to meet is already dead. So
Do you have anything that you're working on now that like you can spill the beans on a little bit? It doesn't have to be horror, but
Anything you're super excited
when is
about?
this? When does this come out?
this will
This weekend,
premiere
yeah.
this weekend. It will be playing.
Got a lot of good stuff coming up. I think I could talk about a couple of them. Well, there's a movie coming up called The Events Surrounding Peeping Tom, which is my favorite script I've ever read. And,
Really?
it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. It's a psychological horror movie. It's kind of got inspirations from like Polanski's The Tenant. I know, I'm not supposed to say Polanski.
It's all right.
No.
He did do some good movies.
Chinatown's one of my
But
favorite
that,
movies.
The guy
That's-
made decent movies. We can leave
It
it at
is.
that. I think we can.
That's where it ends.
You do not say decent. I mean, Chinatown, Rosemary's Baby. Like, all these
I love The
films.
Tenant. That's my favorite of
Tenant's
his.
great.
And he's really good in that. So, but what a horrible person, obviously.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But still a great movie.
Yep.
It's got like a little bit of like the Wicker Man in there, and it's really. We're very excited about it. It's
That's all.
That's
it's
awesome.
very
Yeah,
fun.
it's very
And Felicia's in that. She's it's really going to be kind of next level for her. 'Cause
Okay.
she's it's a really good part, and she's really finally a chance to like do some really fucking
Yeah.
Get into
real
it.
acting.
Yeah,
So,
get into it. Yeah.
Everyone just wants to kind of like trot her out there as penis girl,
Of course.
but, which is fine.
Slasher ID.
But right, so that one we're very excited about. We got a movie called Time's Up coming out, which is a sort of it's a slasher movie.
Okay.
It takes place on New Year's Eve, so it's a New Year's Eve slasher movie.
Fun.
It's not the only reason it exists, because we're like, let's not make the only reason this movie exists because it's a holiday slasher. Didn't want to do that, but for reasons within the drive, it does take place on New Year's Eve.
Nice.
It has nothing to do with New Year's Evil, which is terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully this one will replace New Year's Evil from our New Year's Eve horror movie.
We tried. It's not that hard. It shouldn't be, but it's hard to make the movies good. And got a sequel coming up. There's one coming out as a script I got. I was in North Carolina for a wedding, and this script came in. They contacted me, and I thought it was like a prank or something. It said the Mutilator 2 on it, and I was like,
Wait, we're getting a second meal. Are you telling us?
that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's directed by the same guy.
Whoa.
So Buddy Cooper reaches out to me, and he'll be at Fear Fest tomorrow. He's coming.
That's
We're
awesome.
going out. And he was like, Damian, he's like, I'm a big fan of what you're doing out there, and with talking to strangers. He's like, I like to look at the Mutilator 2. And I was like, what are you talking about?
TV, that's freaking awesome,
I
man.
like read it. I was like, this script is, oh my God, it's so mutilatory. Except there's like 80 body count instead of
gosh.
Oh man, that first one is so bonkers.
Yeah.
This thing is
Delightfully off the rails.
like I read it right away. I don't think I've ever gotten a script and read it right away, because I told Buddy I own like 5 copies of the Mutilator on VHS. I had like a PG version of it.
Yeah, they
I
got that.
bought one,
Yep.
and it was like all the stuff was cut out. I was like, what is this? What's the point of this? So that was a big thing for me.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
And it's thank you because
Seriously, that is rad, man.
Oh,
That is
and
so
yeah, I was like, you're doing it like you never did anything after that. But he's all the money. He was supposed to start filming already, but pandemic stuff pushed it. And I mean, it goes into spoiler territory, but the original cast is returning for it. It's very meta. And like
they had to do that crazy like beginning sequence with the song where it just
Fall
says
Break.
Fall Break, or it says the original title.
Well, he was like, we're thinking about shooting in the spring. I was like, shoot in the fucking fall. What are you talking about? So I like ridiculously excited about that. And the script doesn't make any sense, but I was like, yes, of course it doesn't.
Yeah, certain movies work better when it doesn't make sense.
It was just chaos. It's just chaos.
Yep, precisely.
And like I mean, I love horror movies. I am a little bit of a snob. I try to do good things and whatnot, but I was like, I didn't even need to read the script. I was like,
You have the best wrong turn movie since the first one.
Easily.
Like
if not better.
Strangers.
I couldn't believe that script when I read it. They were like, we're doing Wrong Turn. And they sent it to me, and I was like, okay. Like, they want me to do the cannibal thing and unrecognizable, and I'm going to be three finger or whatever. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, these idiots wandering off. And then it turns into what is. I was like, what the fuck? It didn't make it, like, as the original writer of the first one, Alan McElroy, and I was like, well, what is happening here? I was like, I love this script, obviously. It's not Wrong Turn, but, and that's what everyone will say. And I was like, all of a sudden, all these diehard Wrong Turn fans will come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Like, people will just be born, all of a sudden be reborn as Wrong Turn fans just because this movie came out. They're like, you ruined my childhood.
I must battle you because you're wrong.
I have never heard someone talk about the Wrong Turn.
No,
although,
Pop's not that.
what is interesting that I did discover out of that is every now and then, like, one of the sequels will come out. Like, how are people making these movies? Like, who is watching these shit piles? And two of them are like just porn.
Yeah.
And so like we never knew. But then when I was announced for the new Wrong Turn, I just started getting on Instagram just Brazil, all Latin America, just barrage of messages.
Oh, man.
Just hundreds and hundreds a week of these. I'm the biggest Road to Terror fan. Can't wait for Road to Terror 7. I was like, whoa. And, very few of them are in English. And I was like, what do these people want? What is Road to Terror? And I was like, oh my God, the Wrong Turn. So that's where the Wrong Turn justification is because these people are eating it up. And I was like, these folks are going to be upset.
This is not going to please them.
And they were mostly, I think, not happy.
And the story, like, in my opinion, is better than any of the others.
Absolutely.
It's got such a good story to it.
I mean,
More
the
of
other
a
ones,
story.
I like the first one. So
absolutely.
I think it has a really, it's good, great production value.
Best of
It's a
Life
slasher
movie.
movie with some money to it, but, and a good cast. I mean, I dig it. There's nothing to it.
Right.
But, you don't need anything to it. It's a slasher movie.
Exactly.
So,
it's entertaining.
and the second one, it looks like shit, but it's fun. It's gory as hell. Joe Lynch.
Yep.
It's a good one. The rest of them are.
Joe Lynch, though, is a lot of fun. His movies are always just true.
So this one, I was like, this movie's got like a brain in its head and whatnot. And they originally wanted me for the redneck leader guy. What's his name? I don't know his name. He's an old guy. Tim DeZarn wound up playing him.
Okay.
But he's the one that goes up to him in the bar and he's racist and you think he's going to be dead, or he's just like the racist,
He's like that harbinger that you see
right.
in all the others.
So I read that, and then he comes back at the end. A couple of scenes there, I was like, I love this. Like, I need this because that was Strangers and Haunt, which were amazing. But
Haunt's my favorite that you've done. I loved Haunt. I thought
you can't say nothing.
Haunt was fantastic.
a whole other level.
That was a great, like, that. That I've been very lucky because those groups are like, and that was we were filming that on Halloween, and I was like, this is really fucking cool.
Yeah,
The movie takes place on Halloween. We're filming it on Halloween in this haunted house they built.
And it's
freaking cool.
They
They built
everything- Yeah.
Well, it's a factory. It was it's a milking factory,
Okay.
and in Kentucky, and they just they went in there and they built the whole thing. And they had maps for us.
They did
'Cause,
that
That's cool.
on Joe Bob, the last drive-in. They did Haunt, and he was talking about it.
All right.
I grew up with Joe Bob there,
Yeah.
watching him on the thing, and then he. There's one movie where it sets me off when people talk ill about it. It's Black Christmas, the original. And I threw a chair at someone on a podcast once because they were like, "I like the remake better."
Yeah,
And I was
absolutely
like,
not. That's a
"Fucking-"
terrible choice.
Which
So,
one? Yeah,
that's
the
not
2006 one.
I argue
Booty.
that's the one
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah, come on.
And you know what? I love Black Christmas a lot. A lot. I'm not anti-remake or anything. I'm like, keep them coming.
Agreed.
That movie, the first Black Christmas remake, I walked out of it when I saw it the first time. So I was just like, that's it. And I left because I was like offended. I was like, how dare you? That was a while ago. So I have watched it again since, and it's really pretty. The colors really dopey. It's sleazy. I don't like that whole backstory they do. It's that's nonsense. But as a slasher fan or whatever, the movie does have its.
It's got good
It's
kills.
merit.
That's all.
It
I'll
does.
give.
I just
That's all
don't
I'll
think
give.
it should have ever been remade. That's one, because when you reveal who the killer is, which they did in both the remakes, super quick, by the way.
way too early.
I'm just like, did you not watch the original?
It is kind of like, I know, I get the, you want to remake something, readapt or whatever, go, give it your own spin, but it's like, do you really not get what works so well about
Right. They took out one of the best parts of the original.
and they tried to do the eye thing again.
gosh,
Just
yeah,
stop it.
Like the second remake that just came out a couple of years ago. I liked it, but I wish they didn't call it Black Christmas because it's clearly not a Black Christmas movie or remake in any way.
And that remind me about that for a second. What I was Joe Bob gave Black Christmas the same star total as Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and I was like, "Fuck this guy!" I was like, "I'm never watching him again." It's like, "How dare you!"
I felt.
I
the
get
same
it. It's
way.
like his thing or whatever.
Yeah.
When he put down Big Trouble in Little China, I was there with you. I was like, come on.
And I was like, he's doing Haunt. Like I'd heard it before they announced it. It was like, they were like, "Yo, Haunt's on Joe Bob." I was like, I don't give a fuck, man. And I got, he said, I still haven't watched it. I have,
Yeah,
I know he was talking
I love it.
which was another thing, kind of like I used to watch. Like that was one of the only ways you watch horror movies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When he was
Monster.
on.
Yep.
So being on there and having him talk about me was surreal.
A little meta.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah.
That Black Christmas sequel. I remember seeing it. I'm like, ugh. And then a Princess Bride remake was announced, and Carrie Elwes, who is a limited actor, he said his quote from Princess Bride, whatever. There's so
As
few
you
perfect
wish.
things.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be, and he was saying that about the Princess Bride remake.
Right.
He was very against it. I was like, you have the fucking balls to tweet something like that after you were in that fucking Black Christmas remake. You have the balls to talk. I was like, that is a perfect movie. Princess Bride is fun, pal.
There's holes.
I love it. The passion. That's what horror fans want to hear right now.
Very. Black Christmas set me off because when I saw, I'm going to be that person right now. When I saw it back in my day, when I pulled that VHS off the shelf when it was just another number, and I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I immediately watched it with my mother. She was, I was like, "You got to see this." And there was, Keir Dullea, John Saxon. There was, recognizable people before. I just fell in love with it. Everything about it, and I have loved it so much since. And I never, ever could find anyone to talk about that. Like I would never. I mean, this was before the internet.
Yep.
So if you didn't meet someone wasn't wearing a horror shirt and you're you like stopped them on the street, you weren't like talking to horror fans.
Exactly.
And until the convention started with Fangoria, and then so it wasn't until I think it was 2005 I went to Monster Mania.
Yes.
And there was
Cherry Hill.
Yeah. And I was there for a movie called Ghost Lake, which we don't have to talk about.
Fair
But someone came to that screening and he walked out of it, and I can't really watch myself too much, so I was standing outside, and he came up to me. He was like, "Let me ask you a question. Do you like that movie?" And I was like, "Well, this is obnoxious." But
Great timing. Thanks, bud.
but I'm like, shh. He was wearing a hoodie. It's Black Christmas on. I was like, "Oh yeah, are you kidding me?" I was like, "Are you wearing a Black Christmas hoodie?" He was like, "Oh yeah, it's my favorite movie." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What is happening?" This is like Fright Rags. Fright Rags is probably the only one I knew of at that, or like Rotten Cotton.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Rotten Cotton. I haven't thought about them forever.
And he's still around. Sean Lewis is still doing stuff. I was like, "Oh my God!" Like all I'd want on this thing is the eye. And he turned around. And he was like, "This one," and it had I was like, "Oh my God! How do you get something?" And I spent decades, looking for that hoodie. I never did find it, but obviously, people have come through and made things since.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that was the first time, like, I spoke to a human being about it. And,
Not enjoying horror.
I was like, yes, it was always, I was pissed that more people weren't embracing. I was like, fucking Halloween.
Black Christmas arguably is the one that started that.
Yeah, I was like, where's the love for this movie? And it has picked up since considerably. Black Christmas has but of course with that, there's people like, it's boring.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like it. He's not even wearing a mask.
A lot of people don't want to have to think.
I'm
Why would
just
you want to think?
What do you need a mask for? He's not. You don't see him. Like, I hate people.
There are people out there who, that's all that's what they go to see it for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
They didn't get
I
their
see
thing.
it, man. Yeah.
and they'll just keep going. See if it's called Halloween, they'll just go out there and
Of course.
see it.
Well, we have
And then complain about it.
we have a question we ask everybody when we do interviews, but we're going to do a special Carolina Fear Fest top 5 remote dropper movies. So you are watching TV, the horror movie's on, drop the remote, you got to watch it. You're not going to the supermarket at that moment.
These are always tough questions. Black Christmas.
Yep.
All over.
And I get that, man. That's a year.
It's never been on where I haven't put it on. Alien, if that counts.
Nice. Yeah,
100% counts. Yeah.
Scared the crap
Aliens, but I won't. We'll say Aliens is more. Whatever. I don't.
I'll count it.
I don't want to count Alien and Aliens. I don't know. If Return of the Living Dead was on, I wouldn't budge.
Strong.
That's a July 4th movie for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Uh,
If I don't have a dancing naked zombie on the grave, what's the point of my day?
Leanna Quigley, man.
Happy birthday to her.
Truly amazing.
this changes so much. Like I want right now. I want to say Bone Tomahawk.
Okay.
Oh,
Great
yes.
movie. Yeah.
I love Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, it was awesome.
Super. Yeah, I mean, you're Mr. Cannibal over there,
Right?
Wrong Turn. So
Digging
yeah.
it.
that was John Wagner who produced Strangers and Wrong Turns. That was his first big one. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you produced the movie, Kurt Russell. And Timothy Oliphant was originally supposed to play the guy from Lost.
Right.
Who was good in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was supposed to be Kurt Russell, Timothy Oliphant, Richard Jenkins, and Jennifer Carpenter was supposed to be in that.
Good heavens.
You
What?
Jesus.
But I mean, they wound up with the good stuff.
Yeah, it came
listen,
out pretty
it's still
strong.
a great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no slouches there.
Not at all.
Another one.
Yeah, man.
There's just so many.
I get it. And
Like-
it's especially tough with horror because you usually do this broad any movie.
Yeah.
So people are always going around, but not because we're sticking with theme. It was we'll go horror, but I'll take if you have some that aren't horror, I'll take them.
No, Aliens fits.
Alien and Aliens fit perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are movies that like if Midnight Run is on, I'll just sit there and watch that.
Oh man.
R.I.P. Charles Grodin.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Him and De Niro's so fucking good.
Just truly fantastic.
Just a clinic on like chemistry, acting, like between two people.
How to properly back and forth.
It's so great.
We've been best friends for like 10 years.
Yeah, he earned it after a little,
I
it took
earned
him
it
a
after
little
a
while.
while,
It wasn't like he showed up.
You're fine. But I was telling him, I was comparing him. We were talking about our friendship after Charles Grodin died. I was like, "You're like Charles Grodin and Dave." I was like, he was like the best friend that you could have because he just showed up and then fixed the budget for America.
Right.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
Nice.
That's rather fitting.
That's the type of, and I feel like that's a great compliment.
No, I take it as a great compliment. Anything Charles Grodin-esque is fantastic.
Love Grodin.
Would love to be the dad from Beethoven. That's the goal.
My kids were just watching Beethoven. I knew it was
Great.
coming. I was like, hold on, guys. I love the scene where he wakes up in the bed next to the dog.
Yeah.
And then he's running out. And he's, are you crazy? You should think you would get away with it. Like he just yells at him like it's a person. He's like, oh, you're finished.
It was better than the Turner and Hooch relationship. I
Oh,
Yeah.
I say Beethoven's was better.
I do like Turner and Hooch. At least the first
they're
half.
fantastic.
That movie gets dark. It's got Craig T. Nelson, which is always a bonus for me. But
Gotta love Coach.
yeah, Turner and Hooch takes an odd adult.
It really does. And
It's
then
like
heavily
very soft
sexualized
action.
too.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
like
it's like-
K9, which was
Is it-
more action-y. So you,
That was, that late 80s there. It's like, who's this movie for? For everyone.
Everyone,
At that point,
exactly.
yes,
Yeah,
for-
everybody.
Yeah.
It's like Ghostbusters with the blowjob scene.
Yeah.
It's like,
That
Okay.
was it. Yeah.
but you'll love it. You're like, you're in it.
Yeah, and good for them, because I was, seeing my parents, it was either go to the movies or not, it's like,
Oh,
babysitting costs a lot of money. So I think I sat there a lot of stuff like Chariots of Fire, which is like,
Good.
I'm,
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Man. Oh,
I don't like it. I will not watch the movie ever again.
I did the Best Picture winners. I watched them all like in order one year before the Oscars of whatever year it was. I did that, and I got to. There was a lot of them. I was like, but Chariots of Fire was one of those ones where I was like, that and English Patient are two movies. I was like,
can't.
Yeah.
English Patient
this is a
disgusting.
fight. This is a fight to get through.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Yeah.
But I think they thought I wasn't paying attention in the theater. So I remember my first memory in a movie theater really is seeing Witness.
Oh, wow.
And I think that they thought that you just bring me there and give me candy and popcorn.
Yeah, you'll just be in
and
the
I was,
world.
like
yeah.
not be paying attention to this movie, but it was. It's like
Yeah.
this boobs and Danny Glover being shot and
Yeah.
a lot of shooting.
Oh, yeah.
So that was early age. Good for my parents.
And with the Amish people. Gosh, that's a curious memory to have to go
Yeah.
through from the beginning, eh?
Yeah.
Well, there's something about performers like yourself, entertainers and such. Like that's the sort. Like you guys were. It's ingratiated to you. And you're so young. That, of course, like
Yep.
you're either going to become a serial killer or you're going to become
Right.
an entertainer.
Good choice. That we know
And
of
you're
anyway.
both.
Right.
Serial killer on camera. So I mean, you do it the right way. No, we really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
man.
of course.
This is
Happy to
fantastic.
do it.
This has been
Yeah,
great.
if you're, we'll be around all weekend live broadcasting.
Yep.
So please feel free to
Stop by the-
Excellent. Thanks for
Say
having me.
hey.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
go to
Great.
the screening of this movie at the Myers house.
All right.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's
That's
like an
awesome.
hour or so away. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
It's, he did he has an on-set cinema. He goes visits locations where they filmed and they screened the movie there. And he did this at the pool, which is in Kentucky. It's like in the middle of nowhere. And he had this screen there. It was like 300 people showed up to the middle of nowhere. They were like swimming in the pool and watching the movie. That was awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he should do that again.